Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here with a video on Pokemon Sword and Shield. In this video I'll be discussing the Pokemon that actually make it from the current OU tier into Pokemon Sword and Shield. So if you consider Dex cuts spoilers, don't watch this video. That's pretty obvious. Don't go any further. Leave a like though, I appreciate that, but don't go any further. Without further ado though, let us get into the Pokemon that are making it to Sword and Shield. And this is kind of crazy, but these are the only OU Pokemon that are making it into Sword and Shield. I'll read off the list real quick, and then I'll be going through my thoughts on each one of them. Rotom Wash, Toxapex, Tyranitar, Clefable, Excadrill, Ferrothorn, Hawlucha, Como, and Pelipper. That means the Tapus are gone. Ash Greninja is gone. Magearna is gone. All the Beast, the Ultra Beast, they're gone. Obviously, we already know that Megas are gone as well, so that's not really too much of a shock for us. But this is all that remains from the OU tier, and that's just crazy to think about. Why didn't they just take Toxapex? But anyway, a few things. Obviously, I'll give my thoughts on how I think this will affect Sword and Shield meta. I know about this, and I know about a few other things as well. Like, they left a lot of the weather starters. Not weather starters, but okay, they're considered weather starters, but they're not starter Pokemon with weather, right? The Pokemon that can come into the field and set up weather. So like we have Tyranitar here, we have Pelipper here. I believe Hippowdon's also in the game because we saw Hippopotas in a trailer. We saw Abomasnow, I believe, in a trailer too. So like we'll have that, and I'm sure there's something with Drought. Maybe we saw a Torkoal, I don't remember. So this is interesting for in terms of VGC. Obviously, there'll still be a lot of options right there. In terms of OU, it's crazy how these first 6 Pokemon can make its own team. Rotom Wash, Toxapex, Tyranitar, Clefable, Excadrill, and Ferrothorn. You have your Rain check right here in Ferrothorn, as well as Rotom/Toxapex. You have your Sand check in Rotom Wash for opposing Excadrill. You have your Tyranitar check in Clefable and potentially Ferrothorn. You still have Clefable, which somehow always finds a way, by the way. Maybe in the beginning of the generation it might not be that great when everybody's still adjusting, but this mon will find a way to be OU. Mark my words, it always does. Now, again, this is pretty interesting considering the insane power drop, I would say, with the Pokemon that are left, right? For the most part, all of these mons are relatively old, besides like Como and Toxapex. And Toxapex is, you know, great defensively, but the fact that Hawlucha here is going to be in the game without terrain is interesting to me. I wonder if that means that in Sword and Shield there will be new terrain setters, and obviously like auto terrain setters, and I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm not talking about like grass terrain. Yes, those are moves. I know those are moves. But like auto terrain setters, which I think would be pretty cool. And I'm excited to see how they buff what might have been a weak Pokemon before. And you know, you take Pelipper as an example, right? Pelipper kind of sucked, right? But then they gave Pelipper, it was not Rain Dish or Double Edge, but they gave Pelipper Drizzle, right? They gave Pelipper Drizzle, and they gave it a little bit of a buff as well. And it was able to set up Rain. In VGC, I know Tailwind, Protect was a set. And obviously, in OU, we know that this allowed Pokemon like Kingdra, Tornadus Therian, which is not coming back, Tapu Koko to hit Thunders, which is not coming back. But it did allow for rain teams, and I do know that with Quillfish still being around and a few other rain abusers, this would be pretty cool for the tier. So I definitely expect Sword and Shield to have, I think, a bit more emphasis on weather than what early Sun and Moon did. Now, as you go towards late Sun and Moon, obviously weather was pretty prominent. You saw Mega Tyranitar plus Drill on a lot of teams, and you saw Rain as well with Mega Swampert. Interesting that Mega Swampert is obviously no more around here, so I wonder how Rain's going to take a turn. Como coming back is really interesting too, because without Z-moves, Como kind of is a little bit lackluster. If you take, or if you look at Sun and Moon early before Ultra Sun and Moon, it was just regular Como. It didn't have the Omni boosting, which it won't have anymore. But it's still a good Pokemon, right? And now it has, like, you know, close combat and Drain Punch and things like that alongside it. So obviously it won't have the same niche in checking what it checked before in the tier, right? They ain't no more Ash Gren, but still always going to be a solid rocker. And who knows how the power creep is going to be with Generation 8. Lucha's, like I said, another interesting mon. I doubt they'd bring back gems. Like, I really, really doubt they bring back Flying Gem and things like that. But I do think it's cool that, and I feel like they would only keep Hawlucha if they were, again, bringing back new Pokemon with Electric Surge, right? With Misty Surge. and all that stuff. So Ferrothorn always going to be a great mon no matter what. It's been since Gen 5 Black and White, and both in VGC and doubles, like double, actually 6v6 doubles and singles. Ferrothorn is just a fantastic Pokemon. You guys already know what that does. I think Drill is going to be pretty cool as well. Feel like this mon has potential to be as scary as it was in early Black and White, in early Gen 5. Just a great offensive presence, especially with the lack of Landorus in the tier, right? In fact, based on what we had before, the only mon that checks Drill currently from this list, or the only 2 mons that can check Drill, though I don't count Pelipper as much, is... Well, Pelipper is on the list, but obviously I'm leaning more towards Rotom, especially because Drill can't go for Z Giga Impact at +2 to knock out Rotom. But not having to deal with Zapdos and Landorus in the tier is so big, as well as like Tornadus, like to pivot around Rocky Helmet and whatnot. So, or Tangrowth, right? So I wonder how much of an offensive presence Drill is going to have now. This might actually be the generation where Drill gets banned again. It was banned in early Black and White because they banned Sand Rush, and then they ended up bringing Drill back, and then they ended up retesting Sand Rush, and then they ended up not allowing it with, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they banned it again, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a Pokemon that's gone through a lot, and this might be the generation again where that ends up happening. Obviously, this is all just speculation. I have no idea how the gen is going to be. Clefable, I always say, like, whenever I think of Clefable, I think of, like, the quote from, you know, Jurassic Park, you know, life finds a way, and I don't know if that's necessarily from Jurassic Park, but that's where I remember it from. But Clefable is one of those mons that has just such mediocre looking stats, right? But it's just enough to always let it, like, not be 2 KO'd or not be OHKO'd by something, and then that allows it to get off a Thunder Wave or a Calm Mind with Magic Guard. Now, in terms of VGC, I don't think Clefable is very good in VGC. Don't quote me on that. But I do know I've seen, if Clefable's alive, that means Clefairy's alive. And I know that Clefairy actually has, like, a role in VGC because of Friend Guard. So it can, like, what's it called? It can, like, do things with, it basically makes the Pokemon next to it bulkier, right? It's a friend, you know, fights for its friends. And with the new ways that egg moves work, which I talked about yesterday, I don't know what combination of moves were legal/illegal on Clefairy, but if, like for example, like a very prominent VGC, and again, this is me, and if you play VGC, please talk, because when I ask for you guys' opinion, it's not just because, oh, I want my comments to go up. No, I like to read and like to see, okay, oh, that's interesting, I didn't think about that. But I don't know if, like, Follow Me plus Soft Boiled and some other stuff are legal. I'm not entirely sure what exactly is legal, but I know with the new egg moves now, I believe, let's take the Pokemon Blastoise, which is something I saw around. I'm not saying Blastoise is or isn't in the game, but I know that Fake Out plus Follow Me was not legal on Blastoise prior to Pokemon Sword and Shield, but with Pokemon Sword and Shield that'd be legal. Or like Mr. Mime being able to do the exact same thing, Fake Out, Follow Me. I just saw some, like, things about those Pokemon. So maybe that means, like, a new combination of moves for Clefairy as well. Tyranitar is always and will forever be a boss, man. It don't matter. Setting up Sand, you already got this bulk. This mon has been a boss since Gen 2, okay? Okay, it actually has. It doesn't need megas. I'm sure this is going to be a gen where weather is just super heavy in itself, just based on, you know, things I've seen, right? Obviously, again, this is all just speculation, but the fact that most of Excadrill's answers are gone automatically wants me to use Tyranitar. In fact, maybe because most of Excadrill answers are gone, Tyranitar will actually have less usage than Hippowdon, or Hippowdon's usage will actually shoot up, because Hippowdon is actually a better check to Excadrill than, obviously, the Tyranitar, which is weak to both of its stabs, is. But Tar, this mon is gonna be OU. It don't matter. I cannot think of a general. When I think of Tyranitar, I think of Heatran, right? A Pokemon that has been so good since its conception, right? Heatran is, and obviously Heatran's not coming back. This just shows you that as well, which is pretty crazy, right? But I made a tweet the other day that said, I'll see if I can find that real quick. But when I think of Tyranitar, I think about that as well. But basically, it's like, isn't it insane that, I'm just, like, paraphrasing right now. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because God, I talk so much. What's wrong with me? I wonder how many people got me on mute. Okay, it says, isn't it insane that Pokemon like Heatran have been running essentially the same set since 2006? DP had Magma Storm sets, special defensive builds, Stealth Rock builds, and other offensive ones. You just sprinkle on some Z-moves for this generation, and Heatran is the same Pokemon. It's crazy, right? And I feel like Tyranitar fits that bill as well, that mold as well. Like, it's just a Pokemon that has been running the same thing since the beginning. Obviously, it adapted since Gen 6 to run Smooth Rock because you can't have the all-weather, but like it's been running Dragon Dance sets. Obviously gave it Megastone and still ran Dragon Dance sets. It ran Choice Band sets. It's ran Choice Scarf sets. Like Tyranitar's basically been the same Pokemon. No Heatran, kind of crazy though, especially for mons like Clef too. But no Z-moves either. Again, you already know, Toxapex is Toxapex. It walls a lot of the mons that are around, but I think a lot of the mons can also break through it as well. And Rotom always going to be a solid Pokemon, I think, either way. So this is interesting, just to say that that OU is obviously going to be shaken up for sure. No Garchomp in a metagame with no Lanners is a little bit sad for me. I'm going to miss Gliscor as well. Would have loved Gliscor in this meta. In fact, it looks like Gliscor can beat every single one of these mons. Even Rotom, man, with like Spadef, SD, Facade. But yeah, the lack of legendary Pokemon, as it looks like, and lack of Tapus is definitely going to shake up the metagame. And I honestly feel like while there aren't very many Pokemon in this game compared to the previous ones, I just feel like it's going to be so much more refreshing. I don't know about you guys, but I never felt like with Sun and Moon that I had a team that was like, oh, this is my go-to team, right? This is my team that I'll win a game no matter what my opponent. And obviously you don't have invincible teams, but like I never felt like I had a set group of teams that were like, okay, this is my go-to squad. This is going to be good no matter what my opponent brings because I'm so comfy with that, right? And in Gen 6, I had, Jambad's Clefairy's team with Mega Diancie. I also had the Superior build with Mega Scizor. Those were like my two go-to teams in Gen 6. In Gen 5, I had this like Lando, Zam, Gliscor. It's like this Heatran Gliscor type of build, and that's like a go-to squad. Gen 4, I have the background, which was like my Jirachi, Kingdra, Tyranitar, Infernape, Metagross, Gengar squad. Like in those generations, I felt there were solid teams that could perform no matter what. And I think there were more examples, not just the ones that I cared about. But in Sun and Moon, with the power creep, right? These Pokemon being so strong, and not to mention Z-moves, right? Like, why the hell is my physically defensive Zapdos losing to Kartana? Why the hell is my Tornadus losing to Kartana, right? It's like things like that. I just felt like, oh man, this Ash Greninja is going to sweep me. Like, I just felt like the power creep was so much, and there was nothing that was necessarily always good. I don't think there was a team, for me personally. Maybe the closest thing I think would be Rain. Like, Rain could be good in like a lot of matchups, but even then, Cart would be a problem for that type of build. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the remainder of the OU tier. I kind of just rambled, but that's basically what I do, and thank you everybody for listening. And I'm excited to see how the new Pokemon, make a way in this, right? And see how they end up going. But yeah, feel free to leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys, and I can't wait to upload Wi-Fi battles and showdown lives, man. Next week, next Friday, everything's almost here. I'll see you guys. Goodbye, my friends.